Welcome back. I am the Sulky Vlogger. Let's jump straight into this episode. This video covers anime insight of the Vision of Escaflown 4, 5, and 6. In the last episode, Alan and Vaughn fought in Gymelops, and Hitomi got visions of Alan's fortress's destruction. The episode starts with Meryl being caught by Alan's guards, and she tells Vaughn of all the samurai being killed and the survivors being scattered of their kingdom. The scene cuts to the enemy, making plans to attack the fortress for Escaflown and Vaughn to be captured. Hitomi and Meryl come down with a fever and is cared for by Alan. As Alan talks about his mother's death at the grief of his sister's disappearance, we find out the head of the Dragon Slayers is called Lord Dillendale. Alan's castle is attacked and destroyed by the invisible Gymelops. The remaining men jump aboard the Crusade, which is a floating airship, to escape. It's like done with all magic. They have what's called floating rocks, or levitation rocks, that naturally levitate, and they strap them to ships, essentially. Dillendale is bloodthirsty as his forces burn down the outpost. They take off toward the capital of Astraria. As they fly out, the Dragon Slayers you find out the Dragon Slayers Gymelops can fly as Van jumps in Escaflown and jumps off the Crusade and transforms into flight mode as a dragon, leading the enemy forces away as the episode ends. That's it. It's all of that scrunched into 23 minutes. So as a pro, you get to see this epic transformation as Escaflown in flight mode. It's literally a dragon. He pulls back on the controls and comes out on top of it and uses it like a hang glider. Its arms turn into a canopy as it mimics wings. Now, the salt of this episode, Alan's castle falls in like 2 seconds. And only in this episode do they finally reveal that this is an outpost and not really a kingdom. This is part of a kingdom, which they lead you on about in a previous episode. Episode 5, The Seal of the Brothers. Escaflown is chased and cornered as he lands and is forced to fight. Van is captured and is taken. Hitomi comes up with an idea to use her visions to find Vaughn and Falcon. As Falcon opens up Escaflown, retrieving a knocked out Van. Van awakens to find his brother, which is revealed to him by him showing him his wings to prove who he is. Van realizes that he did not desert his role as future king, but he was almost killed by the dragon as it took his arm. Van rejects his brother's proposal to join him as the Crusade latches on and attacks the flying fortress. Alan finds and rescues Vaughn as Hitomi also boards the fortress to warn Van of another vision. Falcon confronts Van and throws him his sword just in time as Dillendale attacks him. You find out he is afraid of the sight of his own blood as Van slashes his cheeks. Holy music starts to play as Van is reunited with his friends, and they set a course for Palisade as they take off as the episode ends. So here's my pros for this episode. This episode is very exciting as you get a mix of hand-to-hand combat and Gymelops fighting. This episode reminds me of a scene of Sky Pirates from another movie that I've seen before. Like Treasure Island, how they're all like, how treasure pirates, like Sky Pirates, attack them as they're flying around. Now, the con of this episode is the fact that Falcon seems to be playing Vaughn. There's something bigger going on. He wants him to join him. He wants to defeat him, but he will not kill him. And that weakness is actually leading story plot, but in an unattractive way. So, let's move on to the next episode. Episode 6, The City of Intrigue. The episode starts flying through Asteria, the capital of Palisade. I said that backwards. Flying through Palisade, the capital of Asteria. Once arriving in the capital, we meet Princess Melina, and Alan takes her horse and rides to meet the king. He finds out that Vulcan has already arrived first and plays a different story to the king. That Finalia attacked the floating fortress first and they're just retaliating, so the last two attacks were valid to reclaim the king. Alan is very angry and he tries speaking about honor and how we must protect the king as our duty and close allies. The king does not care. He'll throw away Vaughn in a second to protect his kingdom. The Crusade is surrounded by royal guards and is forced to surrender Escaflown. Hitomi and Vaughn are bathed and newly clothed as they head to the marketplace, unknown to the situation. As they get there, Vaughn sees his brother and chases after him. Hitomi finds a CE from a vendor there and plays it, listening to the music in her Walkman as she gets a vision of Vaughn being hurt, so she decides to chase after him. Lord Vulcan is confronted by Van as it pans back to Lord Dillendale, who seems to be going crazy in the air fortress floating above. Vaughn listens to Vulcan as he tells him about the day the dragon took his arm, and he died basically, but was born again after being saved by the Zybok Empire. He tells him the Empire is fighting to end all fighting, and it will only end with Vaughn joining him peacefully. Dillendale fires his gun from his Gymelith up above in the fortress as Hitomi knocks over Vaughn, saving him just in time to dodge the attack. Dillendale's Gymelith overheats from the attack and is burnt up as he jumps just in time. King Ashton's men grab King Vaughn as he's escorted to the dueling arena, where Vaughn is to fight 3 bounty hunters in a 3-on-1 match in Gymeliths, just as the episode ends. So a pro. You get new character development as Princess Melina is thrown into the mix, who later on stays a staple character. My salt behind this is it seems to be no honor. Alan holds honor above all else as a true knight, but the king is willing to do anything to jump ship to any treaty, as the king will throw Van to the Dragon Slayers at a moment's notice. Literally, you see no doubt in him, as he's just like, whatever. You realize diplomacy wins when I win, when my kingdom is safe. Van no longer has a kingdom, so why do we care? It's very rude, very crude. So that's the end of the third episode. That's the end of the third episode that we saw today. And that is episode 6. I want to thank everyone who's watched me so far. This episode's a short one. I summarized them pretty short. Now, coming up, I'm going to do another movie instead of my next Escaflown video, and then I'll go back to Escaflown. I'm going to start switching back and forth between every week and every 2 weeks, depending on how often I can post this. I still have my other channel, D2 the Wizard Gamer, where I post gaming reviews, and I do that every week. So check that out. It's very good. Check out the links in the description. You won't regret it. It's a good time. For my social media, to follow that. My Tumblr, I post photos and videos of movies that I find and cool, entertaining memes behind them. So feel free to check that link out. It's very cool stuff. So I am the Sulky Vlogger, and I'll catch you next time, sailing above the seas.